Good morning and welcome to the fresh edition of my live comments. Political leaders often make statements that they do not want to keep or they cannot keep. But however, there are some political leaders who make statements and act exactly the opposite of what they say. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. But nevertheless, when leaders of two adjoining countries, next door neighbors, make statements which are diametrically opposed and then act in a manner which is again diametrically opposed, it's a matter of intrigue. Imagine Trump and Trudeau both gave contradictory statements regarding the climate change. Trump, as a matter of fact, became an international pariah by withdrawing from the Paris climate, which he said that it's not appropriate, that it would not meet the ends and the objectives that it hopes for. And on the other side, we have Justin Trudeau, who became a leader by default for the climate change. But have they acted according to their own contentions and their convictions? Now, as far as Trump is concerned, he said that he would not abide by the Paris climate, but would take action for the good of America, make America great again. Trudeau said very clearly that he will abide by the Paris climate and do everything to ensure that the climate change, the dangers of climate change are warded off. But let's look at what they have done. You want to buy an electric car? Trump's USA will give you 7,500 tax credit. Justin Trudeau's contribution, zero. Why? Some states, some provinces give some subsidy, but not that much. Now, let's go to the wind turbine or the solar panel. In USA, you will get a big tax credit covering up to 30% of the cost. Trudeau's government will give you a handshake, a photo op, and that's all. And what if you are a company and want to write off those purchases? Trump's new tax plan lets you depreciate the equipment in 1 year, just in 1 year. Under Trudeau's tax regime, it will take 5 years or more to have the definite proper results of the depreciation benefit. For the Trump administration, many regulatory rollbacks are not climate-friendly choices, but on the climate, President continues to do what America has consistently done since the times of George Bush, spend the money. So, there has been a new report from Bloomberg's New Finance, and it covers the complete scenario from 2007 to 2017, 10 years. Total clean energy investment in USA was roughly $460 billion, and it comprised basically of wind and solar. Give a 30 years tax credit. Washington DC share of the cost was $140 billion. Add another $5 billion from 750,000 electric cars roaming on the streets of America, plus the tax credits like energy efficiency upgrades, carbon capture. So total investment by USA for clean energy and for carbon reduction is $165 billion. 165 billion plus 460 billion of the clean energy investment. With this investment, what's the result? The emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions in USA today are 10% lower than they were in 2005. Isn't that commendable? That from 2005 level, you have come down below 10%, much more than you could hope for. And what about Canada? Are we below 10%? No, we are down only by 2%. So difference between 2% and 10% shows the difference between action and talk. While Trudeau was talking, Trump was walking. He walked the talk and Trudeau talked the walk. Everybody was impressed by his statements, but the results have dismayed people. Why? Why this change? Let's look at the Canadian spending on that. Harper government was not spending much, but then they did not agree to this horrible concept of global warming. Climate change, yes, but not global warming. So, has Trudeau done better than Harper? No. As a matter of fact, he has done worse. And the miserly purse strings are not open. As a consequence of this decision, Canadian green gas emission lags much behind and is just less than 2% since 2005. Now look at what Trudeau has done. The budget of 2017 last year, if you look at the pages 111 and 149, the total allocation is for the greenhouse gas, climate change, pollution control, all the whole paraphernalia is just Canadian dollars 4.2 billion. Compare it to 460 billion plus 165 billion, almost 600 billion. So compare with 600 billion with 4.2 billion, but they were US dollars and these are the Canadian dollars. And not only that, 50% of the amounts has been deferred till the next election. So that will become a plank for the election. That look here, we are going to spend $2 billion on countering climate change. So he reaps the benefit of publicity in both pre-election and post-election. But what does the public gain? Zilch, zero. Now imagine US has deployed commercialized technologies like wind and solar. And where is Canada spending? Only on green tech research and development. I'm not against research, it's important. But should research only be confined to the labs? This approach absolutely fits with the innovative policy agenda, but it's disingenuous. Liberals do pitch it to a near-term greenhouse gases reduction and job strategy. And unlike any venture capital initiative, the odds of technology success are as low as 1 in 20. So you are investing the money on technology where the success rate is 1 over 20, and it will take more than a decade to scale it up to commercial level. So for uncertain technology, which will take 10 to 15 years to be viable, why reinvent the wheel? Why not go ahead with what is available in wind, solar, geothermal, tidal energy, which all is renewable, and Canada has all that. Biomass. The biomass that we have, the tidal energy that we have, the geothermal energy that we have, and the wind energy that we have can be harnessed, and we are not doing it. So, Trump, as I said, has trumped Trudeau in the climate change. Now imagine that disjointed clean technology program is administered by NRCan, SDTC, EDC, and BDG. Why cannot we have a single body with a single accountability framework with clear metrics such as GHG reduction, potential, and the cost? And that should guide all the funding decisions. Now you have half a dozen organizations looking after it, and none of them is accountable because the aims are so diffused. And in case of a failure, one agency can easily blame the other agency. So what we needed was one agency, either independently or having an oversight on these agencies. But that has not been done. We should have invested in technologies which are there instead of going in for research. Are divided between the research and the present technologies. Now, what can we do? The new budget of 2018, which is likely to be presented anytime, why not allocate funding initiatives that are sure to bear fruit and start reducing GHG immediately? Canada's biggest problem is methane. Dairy industry, agriculture industry, biomass, water bodies, forest, all release methane. And that is the culprit. Methane is the most potent greenhouse gas that is emitted from livestock, landfills, natural gas production. So, but then, unfortunately, for methane, and fortunately for us, all the shelf technologies are available to reduce methane. Why are we not adopting that? And it doesn't take a lot of money to adopt that. If they had allocated 4.2 billion, out of that, in case they have only $500 million to use those off-the-shelf technologies, the problem would be solved. Have one authority and then counter methane. Unfortunately, the government doesn't think that way. They are more interested in hydrofluorocarbons, which are there and they are harmful, but not quantity-wise as much as methane is. Then, carbon can be sequestered by low-tech tree planting and no-till agriculture practices. Simple. You don't need vertical forests. You have sufficient of them. Have no-till agriculture practice. And there's a suite of technology available to improve energy efficiency in homes and buildings. And if you want to copy USA policies, federal incentives can be put in place for renewable energy, electric vehicles, carbon capture, and improved depreciation treatment for corporate climate investments. By the end of the year, the UN is going to examine all the countries' progress towards meeting their Paris Accord commitments. In 2019, the Canadians are going to have elections. And those concerned with climate change are sure to ask themselves, did Trudeau perform or was he out-trumped by Trump? And I can tell you, everybody will say he was out-trumped. What we need is methane emissions to be guarded, hydrofluorocarbons to be guarded, and a single authority, single agency to control it. Liberals need is an embarrassment of giving this failure. It's a major failure, especially since you have been touting a lot about it. Show me a single international gathering, a single event where Trudeau has not said that Trump is wrong and I'm right. And then what has it done? The performance indicators show absolute failure on the part of the Canadian government and a startling success by USA, second only to Germany. Germany's reduction is 37%, USA's 10%, Canada is 2%. Judge for yourself. Nothing needs more to be said. The results speak for you. Well, people can decide next year what to do. And I'm sure they're intelligent enough to know what to do. Let's see. Thank you.